Yeah, before I brought Mike the Hill Gut Guy's Guide, my stomach was just disgusting. I was having clawing feeling, pain, inflammation, Crohn's level inflammation really high, diarrhea every day, and within three, I'd say 3 months, I'm completely 100% better.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, I put on 15 pounds, feeling amazing. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
thank you.
Hi, everyone. This is Mike, the Heal Your Gut Guy, and we're here with a special guest. His name is Tyler Kelly. He has taken our course and has seen some good results. Welcome. I'll let you introduce yourself. What were you dealing with? What kind of health issues were you dealing with?
Yeah, my symptoms were crazy. Before I started the course, I was having all kinds of stomach pains,
Hmm.
um, kind of clawing feeling going through my stomach, the kind of similar kind of thing to what what you've mentioned in your course. But yeah, it just wasn't nice. My calprotectin, which is inflammation markers, were through the roof, and the Crohn's level, 200 plus. I was having diarrhea, massive amounts of weight loss. I mean, I lost about 32 pounds. Tiredness, fatigue, lightheadedness. One time I actually blacked out where there was so much inflammation in my stomach that it was affecting my whole mental and everything. It was just crazy. I always had like kind of small kind of piles as well. I always just thought, as with weightlifting, a lot of people said, oh, the amount of protein you're eating and, constant straining and things. I just thought it's just down to the training. But yeah, so kind of that was my main kind of symptoms really
Oh, wow.
before.
So were you ever diagnosed with anything, or?
Never, no, no. So I mean, it kind of happened drastic, like kind of overnight, really.
Oh,
And
wow.
my was always fairly good. I used to eat a lot of food when I was a lot heavier, when I was into my bodybuilding,
Hmm.
eating sort of 5,000 calories a day, a lot of food.
Oh my God,
And
so
then it
much
just
food.
yeah, a lot of food. It's something we do kind of like what you call an off season, where you eat a lot of calories, you
Hmm.
bulk up, and then you cut down after for the shows.
Hmm.
And I was in my off season, and I was eating a lot of food, and just overnight, literally, it went from feeling really well to having diarrhea like 12, 13 times a day. And I was just like, wow, what is going on with my body? And instantly, I thought, I'll try to cut out certain food groups. I tried, the instant thing was I'm eating too much meat. That was the first thing because I was having trays of meat, and you kind of go through that phase of, the vegan diet's the best option,
Hmm.
plant-based food
Hmm.
like that. So I kind of went down that route, cut out meat, cut out gluten, which I did notice a big difference with the gluten actually,
Yeah.
which is an anti-nutrient. So it's only until after watching your course that I realised that gluten's just one of many. The dairy, I cut out dairy, and for a little short period I was feeling better, but I was still getting regular diarrhea, and I was going to the doctors at the time, and he was just saying, "Oh, just follow a normal diet, you're fine." I just thought, I'm not fine. This is going on. After a week, I thought it could have been just like a stomach bug. I thought, it's
Yeah.
probably going to pass. But, when it was going on a month, then 2 months, I was like, something's not right here. And
Yeah.
all he kept saying is, just go on a normal diet, just eat bread, carry on eating gluten and stuff like that. And I'm just like, but my stomach is in agony. I'm getting like clawing feeling going through my
Yeah.
stomach.
Yeah.
And I tried just looking for, so much research on, it's really bad. You look online and there's just so much nutritional information out there. It just baffles you. It's too much.
Hmm.
And I could just remember going to my doctor, and this is when I started watching your channel.
Hmm.
And I would just, kind of and being more smart with my choices. At the time, I introduced curcumin, or like it's a curcuminoid. I've actually got it here. That was the one I was using. It's just kind of like a turmeric extract, but
Okay, turmeric.
started using that, and it was helping a little bit, but I was still getting them pains and
Yeah.
things. And at the time, the doctor said, just bin all your herbs. He said, stop listening to this rubbish. Just get rid of all of your turmeric. At the time, I was using black seed oil. He said, get rid of that. Just get rid of everything. And then he prescribed me Amazon. And I just looked at the guy and I just thought, you say, telling me to bin all of the natural herbs which are helping me, and to take your antacid tablets. And I was just mind blown. So I kind of left the place, went back on the turmeric the next day, and carried on, with the advice,
Hmm.
watching kind of the free videos before I bought the course.
Hmm.
Carried on doing the advice, and I felt better. That I was getting no burning feeling in my stomach.
Hmm.
That was going. So I actually tore away the prescription for it in the bin. I thought, I'm never going back and never listening to him again.
Awesome,
um,
awesome.
but yeah, literally, I mean, it just really frustrated me that it's like, I'm doing something which is helping me, and you're telling me to go back on the foods which are irritating me. It doesn't make no sense whatsoever. So yeah, it carried on going on, and I had to keep going to them for the tests, like the stool tests, checking where my inflammation was at. They were routine checks and checking it. It was just going up and up and up. And I just thought, something's got to be done. So I had many different tests, colonoscopies, I had MRI scans, and they couldn't really see it. They couldn't really diagnose it because of
They just wouldn't diagnose you. They wouldn't give you IBS.
No,
that is what just drives me crazy, because it's literally, usually when they can't diagnose you, they just say IBS or Crohn's, which means everything's inflamed. And it's like literally like that simple of a definition, but they somehow overcomplicate it. It just drives me insane.
Yeah. So I kept going back to them for the test, another test, and they messed it up. And then I was actually meant to do an endoscopy, so down this way. But they sent me for another colonoscopy, and I'm like, I've already done this. Like, what? I was going around in loops, and each test there would be months gap. So it's like literally you just kind of firing darts in the dark. Where what to do, kind of thing. And then the weight was just dropping off me. I was like I said, I lost 32 pounds, and I just feeling so ill. And one time I actually collapsed, and my blood pressure was really low. And they said, it could be down to the inflammation. Your body's trying to fight something. And I was at my lowest, and I just thought, I'm very skeptical about buying things, but I kept seeing, your videos, and the things were just making, they're just making sense to me. Everything that you're talking, I just thought, take the plunge, went for it, and it's crazy.
Cool. Glad you're doing better. So it sounds like you were dealing with just all the whole gambit of digestive issues, and they couldn't diagnose you. They didn't know what to call it. Tons of inflammation, tons of problems. You started watching our videos, and how long did it take for you to start seeing changes?
I'd say it happened about a year ago now. This is when I first had the issue. And watching the kind of the free YouTube videos, I got a general understanding of certain foods. So it got better over months. Each time I was feeling a little bit better. But I'd say when I actually officially bought your course, I was still eating porridge oats. I was still eating whole grains.
Oh, okay.
I was still eating, certain foods, but so I was still eating, because at the time, I was kind of thinking, is it the oats? Is it this? Because people are saying, oh well, as long as you cook it long enough, it should be fine. All of these kind of things. But buying the course, cutting out the whole grains, within 2 weeks, I noticed a big difference. Literally in terms of my energy, I started feeling more energized. I feel like I could think again, and I just stopped getting that kind of clawing feeling. So. There was still some inflammation there, but I could tell that my body was starting to heal after 2 weeks. Just learning about the kind of gut microbiome. At the time, we cut dairy out for so long, I was kind of really worried about trying raw milk. So for a long time, I didn't actually use raw milk when I first was using the course. I was actually using like a kefir shot. It was coconut kefir. And it's, but they were really good because they just gave me the extra bacteria to start to heal. But just following the easier, the easier to digest foods, going from whole grains to kind of, white rice. I was finding I was tolerate them a little bit better. So I didn't start from phase, 0, because I thought, well, I'm starting these, the starches and the easier to digest foods. So they're they're not upsetting my tummy so much. They're like the anti-nutrients and things like, I know that I was preparing the foods correctly. And that was really, I was noticing that my inflammation was getting better and reducing. So I was thinking, maybe the infection isn't so bad. So I still had the raw honey, and then eventually I did get some raw milk, but it's very expensive where I am, to buy it. Crazy money. It's really expensive. So I brought some raw milk, and I was actually surprised because my stomach digested it really well.
Awesome.
It's really, you hear a lot about, dairy and, is a inflammatory food and all of these things, and I just didn't want to go backwards. But going on, because anytime I try normal dairy pasteurized, I'd have diarrhea straight away.
Oh wow.
It was really bad. But then when I tried the raw milk, no problems whatsoever. I could drink that. I tried raw yogurt, which was really good. I was having that with every meal. But like
Nice.
again, I said, just the price of it was just so expensive. So I have it when I can. I have raw cheese. So there's a shop. Raw cheese is easier to get because you could get like sheep cheese and
That's good. Good stuff to get.
easier.
What was like an epiphany or an aha moment you had whether it was like when you were first watching our free videos on YouTube where you're like, that makes sense, I'm gonna start heading in this direction, bye medications, or what was like that big aha moment for you?
Thinking back to a year ago, I was thinking, what was I doing wrong? Because that's what I kept saying to people is, I'm doing something wrong here. Like you say, a flare doesn't just happen. You're doing something to injure the gut on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So I started thinking, what was it that was causing that stress? Was it digestive stress? Was it too many calories? Too much food? Not giving the gut a rest, which I think in bodybuilding is a massive issue. And I think a lot of people do have GI issues and don't really address that. Just think, oh, you got to eat big to get big, but it's not that simple. If your digestive system isn't firing, it's just you're wasting your time. I started thinking back to what could be the stress cause. Was it infection, which it could be? I was eating crap quality meat. I was eating it's probably pumped full of all sorts. We used to eat out a lot, so it could have been started off as a tummy bug. But as soon as I cut out the whole grains, I think for me that was the only time that I really started to heal properly, giving your body that time with the easier to digest foods, less fiber, less kind of scratching on the stomach. When it's you say if you've got a wound and you've got something constantly scratching it, it's not going to repair itself. So I think kind of going with the easier to digest foods is a real key, I think, for healing.
Yeah, the whole grains are really. I mean, when you think about what that bran, that outer shell, is designed to do, it's designed to resist digestion from a cow's digestive system, which is much more complex than ours. I think it can survive forest fires and prairie fires and stuff like that. They're so tough, and our ancestors weren't eating them. They also have a ton of antibacterial and antifungal properties, which is a double-edged sword. But I mean, it's like killing the bacteria in your gut and tearing your gut to shreds at the same time. It's amazing. It's like whole grains. I mean, gluten intolerance and all that crazy stuff did not exist until this whole grain movement came about.
So I'd say kind of cutting out the whole grains was my epiphany. Kind of thinking, wow, I'm actually onto something here. I'm not getting that feeling. I think the importance of the gut microbiome. So taking these little kefir shots, although I couldn't get the raw milk, just kind of repopulating the gut, I think was a massive thing. I think each shot had about 200 billion bacteria, so it's quite high.
Yeah.
But just really kind of reculturing the gut. I added kind of more fermented foods, kind of like sauerkraut, things like that. But I think whole grains definitely one of the key ones to healing. Rest in the gut. I still do this to the day now. I always fast, so I stop eating kind of about 5 p.m. and then I don't eat then until kind of like 7, 8 in the morning. So kind of giving your body that time to completely rest. So I think rest in the gut, another really important factor. Resting, even if it's only like I said, like 14, 15 hours a day. I think just giving your body that time to rest and use that energy to fix cells in the body and have that time away from having to think about digestion and constantly contracting.
So how many? So you do bodybuilding. So how many calories do you eat right now a day?
I don't go as extreme as it's gone up. So I mean, when I was really low, my weight was really low. I couldn't digest anything. The pain, the diarrhea. I was less than 2,000 calories, and now I'm on about 3,300. So quite a big. So
that's still a good portion of food to eat for an average person. Yeah. So so what are you eating now? Like, what's your average? Because you got to what's your average meal?
I eat a lot of starches. So now now that my stomach can digest it and it's not fighting inflammation, I can eat a lot of food. So kind of I stick to easy to digest foods. I eat white rice instead of brown, skinned white potato, skinned boiled. So I have that, so they're my kind of main 2 starches, which make up probably the majority of the calories. Then kind of healthy fats, so I'll have eggs, whole eggs, get the vitamins and minerals. I have a lot of salmon, to be fair. Like that's my main protein source now. Since kind of cutting out the meat, I still do eat meat now. I've reintroduced it since.
Yeah, salmon is probably fish is the easiest to digest meat, just because it's if you work out, your arm gets all hard. Fish are in this weightless environment, so the muscles don't get hard unless it's like on the fins. So the muscle fibers are a lot easier to break down.
Yeah, fish. I'm a big fan of fish. They added omega-3s, but I always try and get wild rather than farmed. If I get a salmon, so
nice.
But yeah, that's my kind of main protein. And then I have coconut oil. Stay away from vegetable oils. I mean that stuff, man.
Vegetable oils are probably my biggest. They hurt me the most when I have a lot of vegetable oils.
Since I've been feeling better, I do treat myself now and then, and I did have some chips actually, and I didn't have any bad effects from it. Like the next day, like my stomach was fine, but you do feel it. You do feel a bit kind of when you do eat it. So, but yeah, it's nice that I'm able to actually do that now. To be able to actually treat yourself. It's nice, but I rarely ever do it. I rarely ever have vegetables.
Yeah, it's not worth it anymore. Before I felt like it was like playing Russian roulette with every single meal. You just didn't know what did what, or you thought you're like for sure these whole grains are healthy. Everyone says they're healthy, and you just every single time you're just sabotaging yourself. Now it's like I am never if I make mistakes even now, but I am never confused. I know when I'm making the mistake. Besides of just doing it blindly, it's like a lot of relief to know what you can do to not hurt yourself.
Oh, definitely. And I think that was the trickiest part. I used to speak to my friends and family when I was really struggling, and I just used to say, "What am I doing wrong?" I'm eating what I thought was healthy, and
exactly.
I would just say, "What am I doing wrong?" It's just crazy. Because you constantly reading information on the internet saying, the greens are the way. Eat all this fiber and stuff, and I just like. So I thought I was doing so right, but it's just crazy.
It's like, why does it come out the other end undigested?
Yeah. No, I had really low terms. It was a real struggle, especially when you got two kids. And you're coming home and my eyes were really dark. Dark shadows under my eyes where I was just so fatigued.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
Every time I'd stand up, I'd have go completely lightheaded. Where I might just black out. Where I'd just be so. My body was fighting it. But yeah, it was real difficult times. And I did feel really low as well. When you see yourself progressing for so long, competing at quite a high level. Doing body shows, and I went to. 2 years ago, I got to the British and UK and international. And I placed like 5th out of.
Oh, that's amazing. A lot of people. That's cool.
So I managed to get to the actual UK and international championship, which was wicked. Yeah, just to see yourself progressing. Each year you're getting better and better, and then all of a sudden to lose 32 pounds is just demotivating.
How long does it take? Like 3 months to gain that much weight? I don't know. It's crazy. That's a lot of work to go out the window.
Yeah, and literally for a long time, I was contemplating, whether I'm ever going to be able to get back in the gym. Where I was one time actually when I was really low, having a lot of inflammation, I actually fainted in the gym, and and I just after that I was really put off by it because I was like, my body needs time to heal, and just for a long time I was thinking, is it my my dreams just washed away? I'll never be able to get anywhere with it, but luckily I found your guide, and it changed my life, man.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I just want to save people the trouble I went through, and I don't even know how I figured it out. I got extremely lucky. I was lucky enough to bump into the right information at the right time, and it's like less than 1% of the information out there. 99% of the information out there is going to throw you in the wrong direction. I got really lucky, and I'm glad I can save you some of that hassle.